Hi, this is Joe and welcome back to the shop. In this episode, we have a little bit of welding and turning to do. This is the X-axis Acme screw for the milling machine. I had to, apparently back in the day, when whoever was working on this machine, they pinned these with solid pins. And as a result, I couldn't pound them out. I actually broke a couple of punches, so I had to. This right here is a backlash bushing, I guess, and that helps remove some of the backlash by tightening the thrust screw or the thrust nut here up against a plate that mounts to the X-axis table. So I had to cut that off. So and then this I had to twist off. The threads were galled, and as a result, if you look here on the shaft, let's push this back here. All the threads that were right here were all mashed down. Okay, so I was thinking of trying to just return this, but what's happening is it's weakened all this metal right here. So I'm going to remove this thread portion here by turning it down on the lathe. I'm going to take it down. This threads here are 3/4 by 16. So I'm going to turn this down to the minimum diameter, and then I'm going to re-weld up and build this area back up with weld bead material. And then I'm going to put it on the lathe, and we're going to rethread this with a 3/4 by 16. So what I did, since this was the threads could not be salvaged on this, I've tried, I went and I turned a new thrust nut and threaded it. I also turned a new backlash bushing, and then all I have to do is pin it, this right here, with a roll pin. So I went out and purchased some roll pins so they'll be easy to knock out in the future. So that's been fixed. This has been fixed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a test rod. This is also 3/4 steel. I'm going to turn this down, weld it, and then do some test threading on this piece right here to make sure that I have the procedure down before I mess with the Acme screw, because I don't believe they make these anymore. I would have to turn something or do some serious looking for a replacement. And what I found out on the web, other people who have the same milling machine, the Gorton 9J, they've had trouble finding replacement Acme screws. So I'm going to be very careful and do some test runs on this test piece of metal here before I actually come in and work on that. So we're gonna go over to the lathe, do a little work. I'll do that on camera so you can see what's going on, and then eventually we'll go ahead and rethread this Acme screw. So that's what this video will entail. So let's head over to the lathe. Here we've welded up the end of this 3/4 inch round piece of steel that I turned down, and you can see it's still glowing a little bit. We're going to let this cool, and then we're going to turn it back down to size for threading, which will be it will be 750 thousandths. So just wanted to test this to see make sure my welding coverage is good and built up enough, so when I do turn it down there's no low spots. So again, this is just a test. We're gonna get a feel for what we have to do when we get to the real Acme screw. If it's too low, then when I actually do the Acme screw, I'll put a little bit more weld on there to build it up even more. For whatever reason, I accidentally deleted the portion of the video on the threading of the Acme rod. But there's a ton of videos out on YouTube that show threading. So here it is. The X-axis Acme screw has been installed. As you can see, here is the side that did not have to be rethreaded. So if you notice, watch the shaft here. There's virtually no backlash at all. So I can move the table. Okay, let's go over and show you the other side where I actually did do the threading and make the spacer and the thrust nut. Here's the left-hand side of the mill table. Here is the thrust nut, and I made a spacer in there. So let me move the table for you. Okay, so everything is working really nice with the rethreading of the Acme rod. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please check back for further videos. Thank you so much.